All right, so we have UFC 322. It's turned out to be a really good card. Oh, let's talk about some of the fights up there. We'll start with the Bo Nickel fight. First return matchup against Adolfo Vieira. I guess it's just going to be interesting to see how he turns it around because he's coming off a messed up loss where he got stopped. What, in the beginning of the second round or
I don't even know. I don't know either first or second, but
early in the fight he got stopped?
yeah,
And so now he's making his return fight against a guy that I personally don't know who he is. Do you know who Rodolfo Vieira is?
I have no idea.
Okay, so some guy that, no one has ever heard. So that's what happens when you get knocked down. He was making his way up, but, they're going to give him another match where he should possibly be able to win. Rodolfo Vieira is 11-3. So he's got some experience over Bo Nichols. Bo Nichols only has 8 pro fights. He's 7-1.
And most of the guys he fought, they're not they're not really good. You know what I'm saying? Like Bo Nickel obviously needs those type of matchups to kind of like elevate him properly. Again, like, but those finishes are why he got the RDR fight, but he just wasn't ready for that. I think he should have never had the RDR fight, and he should have fought this guy or a guy like this guy, right? Where he's a slight step above the competition he was fighting, but not so much to where you're fighting a former 2 division champ of another promotion. That was just too much.
It's kind of crazy if you think about it. Like being 7-0 and they bump you up to a guy that's, one of the best middleweights in the world. Like, it's kind of
Exactly.
wild if you think about it. Like, what was the thought process behind that?
If I had to guess, it's just he was accumulating some impressive, looking knockouts. And then maybe he himself was telling the UFC, yo, like, give me something better. You know what I'm saying? Because he was calling out Hamza. So I think it might have been more him asking for a bigger challenge, thinking that he was actually ready for that challenge. And then when he actually got it, he quickly realized, hold up, wait a minute. I'm not here yet. You know what I'm saying?
I think because it's MMA too, if he were to fight somebody like Hamza, even though Hamza's like primarily a wrestler and grappler, I think Hamza has enough like MMA experience to where it's not just wrestling. He's going to be able to mix it up with them and throw him off because it's not going to just be a wrestling match. It's
Yeah.
not college wrestling,
I mean,
you
look
know.
when he fought Cody Brimage or Cody something. He was a wrestler. I think he wrestled in like high school. Paper Bo Nickal was the better wrestler, but in that MMA fight, Bo Nickal struggled. That was his most adversity that he faced prior to RDR. You know, he couldn't get him out of there in the first round. There was some grappling exchanges that he was losing, and that was and again that goes to what you just said. You know, it's MMA. It's not an actual wrestling mat. You know what I'm saying?
So
So
it's
like
different. Yeah.
very different.
All right, so now the next fight that we have, we're gonna go over is the Leon Edwards. He's fighting against Carlos Prates. Good fight for Prates. It's one of those fights where if he beats Leon Edwards, he's right in title shot mix. Like he's like hey, there's no one else who can fight. He can fight for the belt at this point. Leon Edwards is coming off some bad losses at this point, and
Mhm.
he needs this fight. Does he have the hunger that he once had when he fought against a Leon Edwards? You know, the first time, the second time? Does he have that same inner heart to push and dig deep and beat somebody like Prates? Because stylistically on paper, he should be able to beat a Prates, but this is only a 3-round fight. It's not a 5-round slow pace. No, he has to go out there and get it in 3. What do you think about that?
I think the only thing that's really working in Leon's favor is that he's not fighting a wrestler, right? His
Yeah.
last 2 fights that he lost badly, he was fighting wrestlers, right? Bilal and
Sean Brady.
Sean Brady, right? So because of the threat of the takedown, he wasn't willing to engage in the striking. He wasn't able to fight his fight. But now he's fighting a guy who's a striker, right? So it should theoretically, on paper, you know what I'm saying, it should actually give him the confidence that he lacked in his last 2 fights, and he should be able to come forward and do what he does. Because when Leon Edwards is on, he's one of the best, right? He puts it together better than most. You know what I'm saying? So I think it being a striker, Prates being a striker, I think that we might see vintage Leon, Well, who knows? But I think this is the perfect fight. If he doesn't show up in this fight, he's washed. He's done. Because if you can't do it against a striker, uh, where there's no takedown threat, it might be time to consider retirement. I think because that'd be 3 losses in a row. losing to a striker, stylistically good matchup for you.
Because then it's like, what do you do after that? Do you like just like start fighting in the top 10 to 15 and out of the rankings? Like at that point, what, you have to like go way down the
And it's just
rankings?
like, and why would you do that being Leon Edwards? Why would you do that? You were a champion 3 fights ago. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. And if you don't do that, then you end up being another Masvidal, where you're fighting the top 5, top 6, but you're losing every single fight. Do you want to go out that way?
Yeah. Damn, man. That's a sucky spot to be in, man. It's like you're on top of the world and then you take some losses. And then it's like, damn, if I continue and I keep taking losses, I kind of like ruin my whole legacy. But I want to get it back. But I guess the question is, does he really want to get it back? Like, does he actually have that same hunger? Because from what it looked like in that last fight, it didn't look like he really, really wanted it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But again, the excuse he can have is I fought a wrestler. Stylistically, I don't do well against him. He did well against Usman, but I don't know. Styles make fights, I guess. But these last 2 fights were really bad, really bad. So if he wants to hold on to an excuse, he could say that, you know. But this time, there's no excuse. You're fighting a striker. This is
Yeah.
this is fight for you to shine it. And if you don't shine it, it might be time to hang it up.
And another thing is like, that makes sense, but we got to think about like Prates' point of view. Like Prates kind of like he's been a good fighter in most of his fights. When he fought against Ian Gary, which was like his first like big fight, he kind of crapped the bed in those first 4 rounds and then came out strong in the 5th round. And I think it's because it was a 5-round fight and he was probably nervous about the fact that it was a long fight. And then when he fought against
Jeff
Neal, when he fights against him, he comes out with a whole different aura. He's like, he comes out strong, which is kind of annoying to me. Like, where was that energy when you fought against Ian Gary, right? But it was a 3-round fight. So you kind of had, hey, I'm not afraid. Like, it's only 3 rounds. I can do this. So he's going to probably come out with that same energy against Leon Edwards. So he's probably going to be coming with some heat.
I think he needs to. He needs to, because you want to set the tone from the beginning. And I feel like if you start off strong, you can overwhelm Leon and you can kind of stop him before he starts. Because historically that happens with Leon. You know, when he loses, it's because his opponent is setting the tone and he kind of gets discouraged. Leon seems like a guy that's easily discouraged. If you really put it on him, it showed in his last 2 fights. Again, different style matchup, but they crushed him early on.
I mean, even with the Usman fight, when you watch him versus the Usman fight, the first one, I mean, it's not like he was out there, he was pretty.
Yeah.
He got ahead and just landed it.
Exactly. And the chances of that happening again, damn near not likely at all, right? So he has to set the tone before Prates sets the tone. Otherwise, it's another L in the column for him, and he might as well just throw his gloves off right then and there. Just call it quits. And
it's kind of like he has like a problem with momentum. Like if he has momentum on his side, he does well. But if the momentum goes against him, it's like it's a wrap.
It takes him a minute. It takes him a minute to get the momentum back if he does get it back.
It's kind of like my man. He's like the opposite of my man Yuri. Yuri, he don't care. He's gonna fight hard regardless. It doesn't matter. He's winning, losing. He's just gonna fight the same.
Like, Leon might have to lock himself in a dark room for a week. You know what I'm saying? Get some of that Yuri training, because he needs to do something different.
All right, so now let's talk about Sean Brady. He's going to be fighting against Michael Morales. Sean Brady's coming off one of his most important wins of his career, right, against Leon Edwards, dominant fashion. Then you got Michael Morales also coming off a knockout. I forget who he knocked out, though.
Gilbert Burns.
Gilbert.
It wasn't even competitive, though. At least when Gilbert loses, he puts up, even if it's for a round, you know what I'm saying? He puts up a fight. He didn't put up any fight against Morales. Morales, he's young, so we still don't know what his ceiling is. And I think this Brady fight is really going to show what he truly is made of. But that Burns fight, man, he showed a well-rounded skill set, right? He was getting him on the feet. He was getting him on the ground. He just overwhelmed Gilbert. Gilbert just couldn't get started. He looked visibly frustrated. I mean, Morales is really, really good. And I think that this is a high risk, low reward for Brady. There's really no risk. There's really no reward for Brady, but there's a massive reward so there's more pressure going into this fight for Brady. I don't think there's necessarily much pressure for Morales. It's a good stylistically matchup. Like, it's a good stylistic matchup. I'm excited for it. It's probably the fight one of the fights that I'm most excited for on the card.
Would you say, do you think Morales' success came from the fact that he is so good? Or do you think some of it has to do with the fact that Gilbert isn't who he used to be? Or is Gilbert who he used to be, but Morales was just that much better? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Burns is not who he used to be. Like, let's not even like pretend like he's not the fighter he used to be. But with that being said, he's still a pretty good fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still think about it like this. Brady, I don't think Brady finished him. Brady went all 3 rounds with Burns, right? Whereas Morales outclassed him and finished him. You know what I'm saying? So you take that information how you want to take it. But I just think Morales is just really good, man. And Morales, he wasn't getting the same opportunities that Carlos Prates was getting. You know, and that's due in part to him being a part of the fighting nerds. But I feel like Morales was, I feel like he always had the skill set, but he just wasn't getting the spotlight that I feel he should have got. And now he's getting it. He's on MSG, one of the biggest cards of the year, against his biggest test. If he comes out of this fight as a victor, I mean, he is maybe, you can arguably give him a title fight right after this.
Sean Brady had it. I thought Sean Brady had already pretty much earned it.
That's what I'm saying. So if you beat Brady, a guy who has only lost to Bilal, and outside of that fight, he seems to be unbeatable, right? Has a really solid skill set. I mean, if you go out there and you beat him in MSG, you got to get the title shot, I think. Because if you beat the guy that's looked at as a potential title contender, that should be yours now, right? So
So who
this
do
is
you
a
think
big,
wins?
it's hard to say, man, because like I said, I'm a big fan of Morales. I think that he's very well rounded, as I said. He's young, he's confident, and we know that that confidence plays a big part in whether you are a winner or a loser, right? And he has confidence in spades. But Brady, at the same time, man, Brady is he's just like the definition of grit, right? He's just a hard worker. He puts
He's
in the
got a
work.
chip on his shoulder, right? Like,
Got a chip on his shoulder. He's the definition of hard work, man. He just goes in there and grinds it out. It's going to be tough, man. And it's a 3-rounder. So the fight is going to be won in that first round. Depending on how that first round goes is going to dictate the way the fight goes.
so whoever sets the tone.
Exactly. If Morales can set the tone, can dictate where the fight goes in those opening minutes of the first round, it's safe to say that he might win, right? Like if he's stuffing his takedowns, if he's not allowing Brady to take him down, I think Morales is the better striker of the two. So if he's able to keep the fight on the ground or at least make it difficult, very difficult for him to take him down, I think that's a good indicator that he might be coming out with the victory.
Gotcha. I don't know who to choose, so I'm not even gonna give a choice on that one. But
But again, I
I
don't know
guess
who's going to win. It goes down to who's able to set the tone.
I'll tell you what. The top of this division is freaking stacked. It's a lot of good fight at the top of this division between those two and Ian Gary and Shavkat, who just got injured again. I think
Yeah.
DDP, DeRitter, now Hamza as
That's
champ.
that's a different weight class.
Oh, it's
DDP and
170. I'm
this
tripping. I'm tripping.
170, yeah.
170. 170. No, Islam
Nah,
and JDM. Lal. Yeah, I guess
but
185 is it's pretty stacked at the top too, but 170 is super stacked up there.
right now,
Prates.
Bilal is matched up with Ian Gary, so that's another big fight in that division coming up soon.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that one soon. That's a tough one, man. Like that division is
Mhm.
crazy right now.
No easy fights.
So now let's move on to our next fight. And boy, before we move too far, did we call who was gonna win Leon versus Prates? Did you say who was gonna win that? Who do you think is gonna win that?
I mean, I don't know, man. It's tough. If I had to pick somebody based on their last performances, I'm gonna probably go. I think the safer bet is to go with Prates, just because Prates has that confidence, that momentum. On 2 L's in a row, he's getting up there in age. Not even really, honestly. I think he's like in his mid-30s, so he's pretty young. But I don't know where his mental's at. So if I'm gonna pick somebody, I'll go with Prates.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Leon on that one. I think his skill set should be better, but anything could happen because his mindset. It really does depend on the mindset. So now let's go into the Valentina Shevchenko. We're not gonna talk too much about this, but she's fighting Wei Li. Good fight. Like I'll be honest, I'm usually not the biggest fan of watching women fights that much personally, but I think this is a good fight because I like Valentina. I think she's a great fighter, and we know Wei Li she's an animal too. Like this is actually a really good matchup. So let's just who do you think is gonna win that? I think I got Valentina winning, but Wei Li is a dog, so she could win. But what do you think?
I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of women's MMA, but there's select few fighters that I always tune in, and those are two of the fighters that I always tune in. Right, big fans of both of them. But And I also agree with Wei Lee taking the victory. I think Wei Lee has the experience in that weight class. She's
No,
been
no,
in.
no, Valentina's who I
No, no, no,
said.
no, 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 no. Valentina, I mean. Yeah, 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 my fault.
Okay.
Not Wei Lee. I'm going with Valentina. Valentina has the experience in that weight class. She had a little blimp, right? She hit a little bump in the road when she lost to Grasso, but she came back, dominated her, um, and just solidified herself as the best 125er. Wei Lee's really, really good, but we've never seen her fight up in weight. We never seen her fight somebody the likes of Valentina, somebody who's well rounded, who has that mental, right, that confidence, um, and that IQ. So I think this is gonna be the toughest matchup, definitely on Wei Lee's side. This is gonna be Wei Lee's toughest matchup. Will it be Valentina's toughest? I'm not
I mean,
sure.
she went against Amanda Nunes, right? Like,
Exactly, twice, and arguably
so
beat her on this on the rematch. Definitely Wei Lee's toughest fight. Valentina's, I'm not so sure. If I'm going to pick a victor, I'm going to go with Valentina again, just because she has the experience in that weight class. Um, so yeah, I think she takes the victory, man. I think it's gonna be a decision win, though. I don't think nobody's getting finished.